Hi everyone, my name is Josh Williams, and over the summer I had an internship at a company called Evil Tortilla Games, where we worked on game development. So a little bit about Evil Tortilla Games. It's a small local company that was actually started by my brother. It currently employs 4 permanent employees, and there's a number of individual contractors as well. They're best known for creating the game called Who's Your Daddy? Who's Your Daddy is a funny one-on-one video game where one player plays a dad and one player plays a baby. The baby's goal is to get in trouble around the house, anywhere from just messing things up to sticking utensils in electrical outlets, and the dad's goal is to stop the baby from getting into trouble. You can find the game on Steam. It's currently out for PC, Mac, and Linux, and it's sold over 650,000 copies. And we're currently working on getting the game onto Xbox One and possibly PlayStation. So a little bit about my position and responsibilities. I was hired as an intern game developer. Before even being considered for the job, I had to show a complete project that I made in Unity, which is a game engine, and that's the game engine they used. And then during the first 2 weeks of my internship, I had to complete more training where I did Unity online training, as well as specific tasks that they had for me to do in Unity. After I completed those, for the last part of my training, I had to create and implement an item into the game Who's Your Daddy, because that is the project that we continue to work on. After I did that, I took part in discussion about new content that we would create over the summer. And specifically, we talked about new game modes that we would make for the game Who's Your Daddy. After we discussed those and planned those out, I took part in coding those new game modes. And then finally, towards the end of the summer, we again discussed new potential games that we might create, and I helped create prototypes for those potential games. So some skills I learned and implemented. The biggest skill that I learned was Unity. I did know a little bit about it before the internship, but now I would say I'm pretty advanced in it. Unity uses the languages JavaScript and C#, so I've become more experienced with both of those. And then I also learned how to use Unity Photon Unity networking, which is one method of implementing multiplayer into Unity games. I also got a lot of experience with working in 2D and 3D space because I made both 2D and 3D games, and I used Unity's physics engine a lot to implement physics-based movement and interactions between game objects in Unity. A couple things from summer assignments courses that I found useful in game development were singleton static classes and inheritance. A lot of times I would have, for example, a game manager class that would be a singleton because you would only ever want one of those, and that would also be a static class as well so that other classes could access it. And an example of inheritance that I used was in one of my prototypes. I had a parent champion class, and then I could easily create sub classes for multiple champions. Another useful skill I learned was how to build games to multiple platforms. I now know how to build games to Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Linux, and I'm currently learning how to build to Xbox One. And then another thing I got to do was create and publish 2 apps, which I have at the bottom of the screen. And I basically did that whenever I had free time during the day. I would just work on these. The one on the left is called Save the Gorilla. That was kind of my own idea that they let me go with and release. The one on the right is Who's Your Daddy Go, which is based off of the Who's Your Daddy game. It's just a simple jumping game based on the main game. Who's Your Daddy Go has over 100,000 downloads. Save the Gorilla didn't do so good. I tried to put they're only on the Google Play Store because Apple is pretty strict with what they let on their App Store. So I originally got Save the Gorilla on the Apple Store, and then about a week or 2 later someone reported it as offensive, and I had the chance to make an appeal to Apple, but they didn't accept that, and they took it down. Because
Gorilla they got shot?
yes.
I mean, like, Okay.
They thought it referenced
Maybe
that,
hungry.
even though
I
I
don't
did
know,
not
not really.
mention that.
But it was. It's completely separate.
Yeah. Like, yeah, where the kids,
When your child went into
they
that.
message you. Yeah. But we don't know why. I'm only hypothesizing. We don't know why. It's Apple found everything.
Okay.
Exactly.
So a little bit more about Who's Your Daddy and my significance. So over the entire summer, we created 4 new game modes. One was called the Hungry Games, which was babies battling other babies. One was called Daddy's Nightmares, which was babies against dad. Another one was the Great Dad Olympics, and another game mode was a series of single-player challenges. So I put up some screenshots. The one on the top right is of the Hungry Games, and there's also like a lightsaber-looking thing that they're holding. I created that as well. The bottom right is of Daddy's Nightmares, kind of scary. Baby going after his dad. And then I also created simple AI pets, which you can see in the bottom left. There's a dog next to the baby. And then yeah, I created multiple new items which are also in the game, some of which you can see. There's my Google Play app, which has over 100,000 downloads, which brought more attention to the game. So overall, the new game modes and the Google Play app brought a lot of attention to the game through YouTubers and streamers mostly. A couple YouTube videos of the new game modes had over a couple million views. And so overall, it just brought more exposure and led to more sales. And that's it. Any questions?
Thanks, Josh. Any questions for Josh?
Do you like want to work with your brother on like Evil Tortilla stuff like after college?
Yeah, I do. He still pays me like it's a regular job now. So, and we're about to start a new game soon.
What did you add with the Who's Your Daddy Go? How was that, I guess, was it more of it kind of being like a mobile
Yeah, it's
game
just
versus kind of using
so the Who's Your Daddy
the
game
system?
wouldn't work on mobile right now. So he said I could make a mobile, simple version of the game. So I made like it's just a jumping game, real simple, works on mobile.
But this is not something you just did over the summer, right? It's like it's longer than that. So how long did it take you to do all of this?
Well, when I jumped in, the game was already complete when I jumped in the project.
Okay.
And I didn't start working on it until the summer. So all the new game modes were done over the summer. And from then till now, we've been working on like new prototypes.
So this is full time, this is like an all day thing for you?
Yeah, I did like 30 hours a week.
Okay. How did you get it, Josh?
Well, my brother started the company,
Okay, I missed that part. Brothers are company, so you.
and then once I showed I had
So
enough
when you graduated,
unity.
that's what Tom was asking, you're gonna go with your brother. I didn't know what your brother's role was.
Is this a local I guess, is it in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So will you take another UC students, UC, you think?
Yeah.
You guys would be interested in that
He
We're
told
not
me
qualified.
he
We're not qualified enough.
Yeah, we're not smart enough.
Can you download that for me on my phone?
Yeah.
You're doing it. We're playing already. I don't want to play. I want to be the first one. Download it for me.
So how do you feel about like working on the engine internals like in graphics class versus working on the models and like just the like, game design aspect of it?
I like just the game design aspect a lot better, but it's interesting because graphics feels like I'm doing all like the back end stuff that Unity does for me, and it's cool to see how that all works.
Yep. Great.
Did you have a strong background, I guess, like had you been developing some of your own games prior to this internship, or was your exposure mostly just your computer science courses?
Mostly just my computer science courses. I took one video game class in high school where we used Game Maker, but that's not really scripting, it's more, I don't know, but yeah, mostly my comp sci courses I took.
Alright, so
So let's thank Josh again.